I mean, we are very choosy in identifying these faces because you cannot talk about young people claiming the democratic space in the Gambia without talking about the likes of the faces that we are seeing in here today. So today we're here bringing young leaders from different parts of the country, both that are in the mainstream civil society and political space, and those that are in the community, championing community development, changing the narrative in the community. So we've brought these minds together to define what is next for the young people in our democratic future. How do we claim the democratic space?
This is called claiming the democratic space. It's not like waiting for the democratic space to be given to us. It's us taking charge of our affairs, us controlling our sectors.
We don't only need young people to occupy this space, but having competent young people to occupy this space.
The agenda of what is next, I think, is really important, and it entails a lot that has covered a lot of areas that we need to look into as young people.
What is next for Gambian democracy is to see how we can take up affirmative action and commitment to come up with a position paper that would not only be achievable but is attainable, realistic, and also is time-bound.
Coming from different backgrounds, working in different areas, we all have divergent views and we all have our own perspectives of how things should be done better.
So as you can see, they're currently working in a group and where they're identifying certain challenges and solutions, and these solutions that they are identifying, we're going to be using these solutions to develop a country position document that would outline what is it next for democracy for young people in the Gambia.
We want to suggest that the anti-corruption commission bill should be a priority right now to be passed as law in order to promote accountability.
That the government should revamp the entire education system to incorporate TVET, STEM, and also the affordability of tertiary education.
So we want young people to participate in decision-making process in our communities. This will really help.
I believe there is much to be learned, not just from the successes, but also the failures that have come out of all of the experience that we have gathered, not just for the past 5 years, but the past 50-something years. So the leaders that are there right now, they have succeeded in certain ways. They've also failed in certain ways. What do we take from that as young people?
So this What's Next campaign is a global campaign whereby different countries will be having these sessions, and we are going to be identifying the challenges and the opportunities, the way forward, and what is it next for young people around the world.
The recommendations that we come up with as individuals and collectively as civil society can go a long way in ensuring that we are able to attain a model of democracy that we would really be proud of as a country.
Good morning. My name is Marr Nyang. I am the founder and executive director of Gambia Participates, one of the organizations that is involved in the global What's Next campaign. What's Next campaign is an initiative that is supported by the World Movement for Democracy, where 300 young people from 10 different countries came together to create their own spaces, test their ideas, and discuss what is next for their democratic future. Following concerns of democracy erosions around the world, high discontent of democracy within young folks, and the limited opportunities that are there for young people to meaningfully participate in the decision-making process, the What's Next campaign is initiated with the sole objective to empower young people to take strategic political actions in order to achieve their democratic ambitions. Democracy is a constantly evolving process that must be constantly reviewed in order to improve its evolution. And you know, during the What's Next campaign, young people unanimously believe that democracy is the future, but a democracy that must be underpinned by the values of inclusivity, social justice, and accountability. Inclusivity, because young people believe that they have been historically marginalized in the decision-making process, and they end up being the end user of the policies and decisions that have been made by the government. And policymakers and governments must understand that anything that is made for the youth without the participation of the youth is really not for the youth. Social justice. We believe development must not be centered in a specific geographical location in any democratic space while marginalizing other communities. Marginalized communities must be given access to education, not only basic education, but high and quality education, employment, and then also job opportunities that are created for youth. Accountability. We believe politicians must be held accountable for the promises that they have made when they were vying for political offices, and there must be strong democratic and anti-corruption institutions. For we believe when there is accountability at the end of the tunnel, politicians and governments are less likely to participate in dubious activities. You know, from where I came from in the Gambia, we suffered dictatorship in the hand of a brutal dictator for more than 22 years. And during his 22 years reign, he has been found guilty by a commission for killing more than 200 people. And these people include our family members, friends, those within and outside the country. And let me tell you how we've been working towards strengthening democracy since we democratically removed a dictator in 2016. We at Gambia Participate have been working with communities and young people to provide them with the necessary information and tools for them to meaningfully participate in decision-making processes, such as constitutional reform process, transitional justice, community-led anti-corruption initiatives, and elections. Now, talking about elections, in 2021, we deployed the largest citizen election observation mission, in which 97% of our observers are young people. We believe citizen-led election observation mission strengthened electoral integrity and also boosts the interest of citizens to participate in election, but most importantly, it also boosts the confidence of citizens in the outcome of election results in order to prevent post-election violence. And let me tell you why I said citizen election observation mission boosts the interest of citizens to participate in elections. In 2022, earlier this year, 2 of our election observers ran for parliamentary elections, and one of them happened to be elected as a parliamentarian, now serving as a member of parliament at the Gambia National Assembly. As one of the participants said in the video that have been projected before I came to this stage, that young people must claim the democratic space, but they must not wait for the democratic space to be brought to them. Around the world, from the countries that you came from the country that I came from, young people have been seen as the faces of democracy defenders. And in defending the democracy, they defend the interests of their nations, they defend the interests of not only young people, but the middle-aged generation, the older generation, but also the upcoming generation that will be replacing the young generation. We want government to see us as a partner, but not enemies. We are only an enemy to a government that fails to deliver democracy, or a government that fails to protect the fundamental human rights, or become a threat to other countries. As young people, we believe we wanted to support governments to deliver democracy. And in delivering democracy, we wanted to be part of the decision-making process to help them make policies and decisions that will strengthen democracy. Because we believe if government thrive, economies will thrive, human rights will be protected, and there will be social justice around the world. For that, I thank you for your kind attention.